Hello, welcome to UK Horror Scene. I'm Tony Sands. This is the crew.
Hello.
Like, he's so polite, isn't he? You just come. He's so nice, Clem. Clem once lived in a chimney. True story. We're here as guests of the London Horror Society to talk about 2016. It was a wonderful year. Or was it? Let's find out by meeting our guests. Give them a round of applause. You can see there's not just one, there's not just two, there's more than two people here hanging with us tonight. We're doing a very special one to talk about the year that was 2016. So we'll just jump straight in. Why mess around? So the first question up, guys, is...
Who are we?
Well, yeah, who are you? Who are you?
To steal Damon's joke, is that deeper but yeah. So I'm Chris. I am from the London Horror Society, and this is my second time with Tony.
What about being on a show?
Yeah.
The first time was so memorable.
And the tone is set. Yeah, okay, not the tone, but yeah. So that's me. Yeah, happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm James. I'm a director. Did a short film, Cannibals and Carpet Fitters, and we're just currently shooting the feature film of it.
Which, may I say, was awesome.
It's a fantastic short
Absolutely.
film.
I usually go after him.
No, go on.
No,
Dump it.
I'm Anna. I produce horror films at Myco. We've just recently finished Slasher House 2, which is the thing after Slasher House 1.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, very good.
Clever with the name.
Yeah, that's genius.
That sort of thing might catch on.
Yeah.
I think so.
I get the really easy part now. Hi, I'm MJ Dixon, and I do what she does, but directing.
I usually get to do that.
I'm Damon, Rickard. I'm director, directed a few short films, The Package, The Tour, and Dissociative. Yeah, that's me.
All good films as
Great,
well, to be
yeah.
fair. I mean, like, we only have good people on here. We don't like trash.
Oh, I should leave. I'm sorry.
Right, and I'm Tony Sands, in case you didn't know. Right, second question up, because we already found out everybody. 2016, was it a good year for horror? And can I start with Chris?
Brilliant, on the spot already. Yeah, actually, I had a lot of fun this year. Some solid films come out. Lots of kind of fun, good festivals this year as well. I'd say it's been a pretty stellar start.
And he stayed so unpolitical there. So he didn't go for the political angle, he just went for the film.
Yeah, film-wise,
Yeah.
that's what I was going to say, because nothing else happened, did it, in 2016?
Leave
While the
that to
world is
Charlie
ending,
Brooker.
yeah, that's it, yeah. Brooke will smash it,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's fine, he can do the rest.
What about you, Damon?
2016 was a good year for horror. In fact, I even did some analysis on this. See what it's like from a commercial
Right,
point of view.
textbook.
So,
Good.
textbook. What I found was that it's actually, in terms of the top 100, 11% of the top 100 were horror films this year for the
good.
box office, which beats Marvel.
Wow.
They only had 7% of films in the
Nobody
top
beats
100.
Marvel, do they? That's quite a thing to say.
Yeah.
To say that.
You can't
That
you
will
can't
change
say
next
those
year.
places.
Sorry.
We got our first walkout.
Someone at Disney right now saying more horror Marvel.
Yeah.
Demon Rickard blacklist.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. The other thing for me on that was most of them were didn't just do money, but they were actually commercial and critical successes as well, which
decent.
was really good. And there was almost no sequels and remakes.
Yep.
And now, to me, that's a good year for horror.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Anyone else?
I agree with Damon. I think it's been a fantastic year. And what was weird was, I think, just before the summer, everyone was saying it's no good horror this year. You know, it's kind of a barren landscape. And then September, we just got week after week of mainstream horror.
Yeah.
I mean, indie's a completely different thing, so those kind of releases are staggered. But in terms of mainstream horror cinema, September kicked ass.
Yeah.
Really, October, nothing.
Yeah. They avoid it now, don't they?
I don't know about you though, but I always find that seems to be the party line every year. It seems that everyone starts whinging. It's there's no good horror this year. There's no good horror that year, and actually, there is religiously good stuff that comes out most years.
Yeah,
I mean, okay.
absolutely.
Some years are sort of lighter than others, but I don't think there's been a year that's come out where there has been nothing that's been any good. I mean, okay, if you're constantly comparing it to the 80s and the 70s and that sort of content that a lot of people do kind of take as their base of what they consider to be their favourite horror. Yeah, okay, we're not sort of doing that sort of stuff anymore, but we are being more imaginative. Like Damon said, we're not actually just churning out remakes and sequels, and there is actually new stuff being put out.
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely. I think
great
every
thing.
year you can pinpoint a film that kind of changes the direction of the genre. In terms of mainstream stuff, Wolf Creek in 2005, and
Right.
then I think was it Paranormal Activity 2009, 7,
Yeah,
8.
I thought 7.
Around
Back
there.
way off on this.
You know, one time when that came out. But every year there's a different film that comes out. I think
Yeah.
that kind of changes the direction of what you're going to see. You know, for the next couple of years. I think that's.
There's a question which I always wonder why people ask that question of horror. Nobody says, "Oh, it wasn't a particularly good year for sci-fi," or "It wasn't a particularly good year for
Rom-coms.
comedies this year." Rom-coms, yeah. For some reason, there's this expectation
Great
that
year for
every year
rom-coms.
horror is
Yeah.
going to be great. It's not always going to be great.
No.
Well,
It's
there's a running joke now, though, isn't there? There's an article that goes around on the internet, and it always says, "Is horror dead?" And you get this massive debate going on under it, and then someone goes, "Just click on the link," and you click on it, and it's a page that just says no. And I mean, that's where we're at now.
That's
with
kind of
it, you know, it's
sad
become
we
a joke.
need that, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
It just changes, doesn't it? Each year, like they go for the gore films, and then it suddenly changes more to the psychological
Yeah.
films.
yeah.
I think
And every time there's a
horror-
popular horror film, people just kind of go, "Is horror dead?" You know, like it kind of seems counterproductive, really.
I think horror fans though are more sort of committed than like you don't get kind of rom-com conventions of people going.
should be.
Oh, Jennifer Aniston though in all the last films
Yeah.
that she was in.
Well,
So
yeah.
the expectation is higher and the kind of the stock they put in it is greater. Do you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
absolutely.
So they're kind of they expect more and are bitterly disappointed if you're going to go around remaking Halloween.
I think that's the
Yeah.
thing. That's the thing that
Some
seems to.
cameras all
It felt like it's changed over the last couple of years. Whereas you know, like you commented on the remakes and the endless sequels, and it feels like they're putting more of a concerted effort into making more original horror films or something new. And even though they might be basing that with the hope they'll launch a franchise from it, but they're making better quality films as well, rather than just thinking there's a horror audience out there. As long as we get a good opening weekend, we'll make our money back, and then we'll just churn it out, make it in a couple of weeks, and anybody will go.
And you got like somebody like Blumhouse, where they're hit and miss, you know, because they're churning out so many, but their model allows them to be able to put a number out, and you hope you're going to get some gems out of it.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
do.
Lets them experiment a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
I think you're ending up with very interesting take. I mean, I don't always enjoy everything they put out, but at least I think every film they put out has some kind of interesting take on
Right.
on what they're doing. You know, and I think that's the most important thing is that people are just because some people love the sinister movies, some people love what they call the insidious movies. You know, some people love you know, the Conjuring or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that, you know, there's something there for everyone, whether everyone likes it or not. Some people obviously do.
Yeah,
I think.
and I think you can honestly look at, say, Jason Blum or someone like that, and actually say, okay, you know they're a fan because they're churning out and they want to sort of produce new and exciting content. And you're right, it's hit and miss, but some of the stuff they've produced I thought was bloody brilliant.
Yeah, that's great. I
Was
mean-
it The Invitation? That they, I don't think it was this year, but I think it was called that. This is embarrassing, where they all turn up to a house
To the party,
that a
yeah.
guy gets invited to, and it's
Fantastic film.
bloody excellent.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed it.
And-
recently, I think.
Sinister was
Sinister, yeah.
is for me, it was one of the few horror films over the last 10 years that genuinely scared me.
Yeah. Same with Paranormal Activity. I literally can't watch it anymore. I haven't seen any of the sequels. Just it blew my mind.
It made me cry.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
The
horrendous.
film was so good, I can't watch the rest of
Yeah,
them.
no, I'm not going to watch it. I don't care.
Well, that film was so good, it actually paid for the rest of them,
Yeah,
didn't
it
they?
did.
And made
And
profit.
the rest.
Yeah.
You know, it's without that, I don't know what else would have
But
happened.
that's been one of the most successful franchises of all time, hasn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Paranormal,
Yeah. Because everything went into profit. I mean, that
Yeah.
that paid for the other films and still had a profit.
But how cool is that as a business model, right?
It's
I mean, if you
fantastic.
can actually make one film that then allows you to make more that you want to make, and hopefully there's a hit in there, and you can still keep going after that, even if there isn't. I mean, that's fucking fantastic to me.
But his budgets are 5 million or less.
It's just great. It just shows what you can do. You don't need silly budgets.
But as
Not
long as
that,
you
not
make
that
quality,
4
as long as you
million
know what
is
you're
silly.
doing,
Yeah.
it's,
You know, it's yeah.
and like you said, you
Great.
can tell there's a heart in it. You know, you can tell with Blumhouse that they actually want to make films that they want to see. That's the impression you get of them anyway.
Yeah.
And I think that's always the sign of a good filmmaker, which you see a lot on the indie scene, especially. That and that's the thing you can appreciate. Even if it fails, you can see that there's heart in it.
Yeah,
they're going out.
they were
there to
trying,
make
weren't they?
Yeah, to make.
Well,
make
he doesn't.
movies they wanna see.
He doesn't pay his directors though, Jason Blum, does he? He just says you get full creative control. You're kind of bypassing the front end payment. So if we go into profit, you get paid. But other than that, and so it really does come down to that's their passion. Really, they're doing it for nothing, and they just because they have creative freedom on these things, which I think is again why we're getting so many interesting things out of that particular production house.
I think it's when you look at the indie film scene, especially during 2000, any year really, but it's been pretty good for this year. But for me, I always find that I'm willing to give a bit more leniency to indie films because they don't have the resources that big budget films do, but you've got people that are just starting out, so they don't have the experience and everything. So you sort of go, you've got more room to fail there. I find it more upsetting when you see somebody that's got the money to get the best of everything, and they still do something that's no good.
Right.
That really upsets me.
Yeah. And it's never going to stop.
No,
It's
it never
continuous
will.
forever. Sadly, it's one of those things.
Right, we'll go swiftly move on into question 2, which is touching back on the indie scene as well. And I know the reason I wrote this question down is because I know a couple of you at the table have had issues with this.
There's a camera.
Yeah. But the horror community, united or divided? MJ?
Oh, man. Well, I think the frustrating thing about it is that it's both. And that kind of is... You're kind of stuck in like a limbo, really, as an indie filmmaker, because there are a lot of people out there who are looking to support you, other filmmakers, other performers, other horror fans, and there are a lot of people out there who want to have this kind of tight-knit community. And then you've got the flip side of there's a lot of people who want to kind of step on you. You're just a stepping stone to them, so they want to use what they can get out of you, and then they'll use that to push their career forward. And there's a lot of I don't know how candid I can be here, but
Go for it, man, as candid as you like.
am I allowed to swear?
Oh yeah, I already broke that rule in about 4
There's
seconds.
just a lot of fucking backstabbing goes on, and I find it really, really disheartening because we've always tried to be as upfront and honest as possible about the state of indie film, because it's not a very glamorous place to work, and I think people come into it expecting to turn up with big sunglasses on and hats and trailers and and really
Someone
what
said
happens
that one
is that you're asleep on a warehouse floor at 4 a.m, you're coming in at 7 a.m. covered in blood and dirt, fake blood sometimes, and you just and it's just awful, and I think a lot of people come in and expect this glamour, and so they kind of they try to put out this perception that it is also a very glamorous place, and that's really hurtful to the community as a whole, because what all it does is open a gateway to more people coming in with more expectations, and I think over time that's really starting to damage what we do. When indie film, especially indie horror, is a down and dirty place. It's very representative of the kind of films that are produced there.
But they're so much fun.
Yeah, no, but it is good fun, and I think I've worked on kind of big budget stuff, and I've worked on no budget stuff, and I much prefer the no budget stuff. I much prefer the kind of freedom, the input that I get, and I think it's just again, like Damon says, a much more fun place to work than being kicked around, like a peon on some big budget thing.
It's not for everyone, though.
No, but absolutely, and that's fine. But I think, like I say, I think there's a big divide in the community where people want to present it as this glamorous thing and are desperately trying to kind of get to this top of what essentially is like a garbage fire. And then there's people who understand what it is and just kind of get on with it, and I think those two factions are, and I think that's always been the case.
Yeah.
But I think they're always at war.
The thing I love about indie horror, especially the low budget stuff, I find if you are working to a really restricted budget, you tend to get so much more creative with stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can come out with these amazing ideas, and actually that breeds, for me, better stuff. I mean, if you've got an unlimited budget, there's always the temptation of, okay, we can CGI that, or we can do this, or we can buy that in and do that, and actually you lose the charm I think, with
Yeah,
a lot of things.
absolutely.
And actually, when you know that someone's created it from scratch, you can sense the love in it, and you can sense the desire to actually make this a proper thing. And it's almost like a no excuses for other people now. It's like, well, we did this for £100. It's like, well, what's your excuse now? If you've got this great idea, you've got
Well,
an
yeah,
iPhone,
that's
you
what
can
it
make a
is.
This is
film.
absolutely
You
it.
know, it's-
A few years ago, I won't name the films, but we went to a festival, and over 2 days we watched one film, and it was the kind of film that I'd usually really like, but I came out like something was disappointing about it, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And then met the director afterwards, and he was he loved himself, like like no other person I've ever met. And
You
he,
saw me there.
I said I wasn't going to bring your name up. mate.
Sorry.
But and all of a sudden I really understood why I didn't like it. And then a similar thing happened the next day where I watched a film that I really usually I would not like this kind of film, and I really enjoyed it, and I couldn't really again explain why. And then I came out, and later on I ended up talking to the director, and he's this guy, and he said, "Oh, I directed that film," and he's a really nice guy. I really got on with him, and you could feel his presence in that film. I thought that's what I liked about it, was I could feel
The passion that he
this
has.
passion that you're giving me here. And this other guy was just kind of like, I just wanted to to get it out there and give it to sales agents and get my money back and then move on to the and all of a sudden one felt like a
Production
product
line.
and one felt like a
Right.
passion. And I think
100%.
Exactly, yeah.
and that makes a huge difference in how you view a film, for
100%.
definite.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, I think touching back on your thing about the glamorous side of it, I think one of the things that can give a false indication of the way indie film is some of the festivals that you have.
Yeah.
When you see the likes of Fright Fest in the West End, or having been to Scream Fest in the States and stuff, you've got a lot of independent films, a lot of cheaply made films. Not all of them good, some of them excellent. Like any festival, you're going to have a variety of quality, but they're the ones that get the press and the notoriety. They make the magazines, and they're all over the internet, and so people see blokes for us turning up at them and going, "My God, you have such this glamorous thing that you do, all this thing." You're thinking, well, one, I paid to go myself.
Yeah.
Never
It's
get
costs
never
a
get
lot
for
of
free,
money.
do you?
And
Costs a lot of money. And
that's the one day of the year
Yeah,
you can
it's
kind of go,
exactly it.
"Oh, thank you for
And I
saying
mean-
well done."
Yeah.
Like 'cause the rest of the time, people just kind of shout at me.
Yeah, it's
Sorry.
And 90% of the time, in reality,
It's all right. It's just a midway mark. That's Wally the werewolf just signaling.
forgot
That was
was
cool.
going to happen.
Yeah.
I thought that was you.
90% of the time, the reality is that you're sitting in someone's shed and they've set up like an LCD
Yeah,
projector at the back of the room,
Yeah.
and the awards are like something they've made out of wood and
Oh, yeah,
sprayed
yeah.
with gold, and like, I mean, that's 90% of the time.
Yeah.
That's the reality of it.
Yeah.
and you spend a lot of money to go to that
No,
shed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never speaking of the shed.
I think some of the horror community is amazing though.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
back to the sort of horror community thing. I think the people who get in it for the wrong reasons, the directors of the type that you were talking about, who get into it for the money and the chicks, of which there aren't really any
I've
when you
heard
get
no
when you
others
get
so
to the but like that's the sort of people with a sort of awful attitude who want to step on people kind of move on. I think they come through, they kind of
Or they very
annoy
quickly get
everybody.
found out. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah,
Yeah.
and the
yeah.
horror community itself is quite tight, so once
Yeah.
people like that get found out or just
Yeah.
move on to something that's more lucrative.
And I think it's definitely more
Um,
important to focus on
the good.
the good side of it,
Yeah.
definitely. I think that this is the problem, is that, your attention is often forced on the negative side of it when it should really
Right.
be put on the positive. And I think that, I think as a community, like, we all need to make a bit of an effort to support each other, and support the other supportive people, because I think that's really important. And this, in time, will disappear.
I've got to say, the good people are genuinely very, very good, though. The reliable people within the community. They're quite a solid network. Obviously, like within life, you're always going to get the crap, aren't you? You're always going to get the shits. It's the way it happens, and that makes you appreciate the good people all the more. Obviously through the shows and all that, and apart from Damon, you meet some really nice people. It's,
And then you meet
but
Damon.
Damon, who just ruins everything.
Fuck you, fuck this.
There we go.
Plug your mic.
Yeah, your imaginary mic.
Oh, it's too heavy to just pick up and throw.
No, but you know what I mean. I've spoken with you about it, and we spoke about
Yeah.
it when you came on the show before. it's very frustrating. So I can feel your frustration that when you meet the crap people who screw you over, it really kind of knocks you because you're thinking, I'm actually putting my heart and soul into this.
I'm trying my
I'm
best
not making
here.
I'm not making any money out of this.
Yeah.
This is everything I want to do, and you're fucking me over. And what's all that about?
Yeah.
So it's really disappointing.
It's quite raw for us. I think we're
Yeah.
trying to be very like, no, this is all
It's incredibly
fine.
diplomatic over there. Well done.
We're still twitching from.
So about 90% of the people that I've dealt with and met and etc. have been really supportive,
So,
really good.
yeah.
And I mean, tonight, after this, we're going for some drinks with the horror community, you know, and it just shows that there's this desire for people to not just work with each other, hang around with each other. It becomes more than just going onto set and spending some time with people. There's friendships made from it, and people will help you on your project, not to get you to help you. Get them to help you back, not because there's something in it for them, generally because they want to see you do well, and they want to be part of that. I genuinely found that I've met some of the greatest people that I've ever known.
Thanks, Damon.
Yeah.
Not you, Tony.
Johnny 10%.
Yeah, you do get some genuine people though that join with you, and you want to work for them again because they put so much heart into it as well. And you're like, well, for me, I'm like, when they do such like great work for me out of like favours or for little money, I'm like, that's really like touching for me, and I want to make sure I then try and make something as good as I can for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and then
Definitely.
hopefully we'll work together again, and it's that kind of feeling.
And it really does feel like a family, I think. I mean, we've now got a network of friends who we've met over the last 5 years of just making movies, who now have become our kind of surrogate family around us. And I think that's a really important feel, because when you all get back together, it's a much better working experience.
You work really easily together as well. Like it's and when you get a sort of a bad egg in the mix,
you can
kind
tell.
of, everything kind of, it's like the body pushes it out.
Yeah. Like a big shit.
Well, I can feel the tick coming back.
Right, and talking towards that, moving on to the third and final question, the official questions anyway. It's the film of the year. I mean, because that's what you all work towards, making great films, and I know you've all made very good films or been involved, whether it's in the production or directing or writing. But well, I mean, what I've done before I move on to you guys. Promotion, why not? Before we move on to you guys, though, I've had a few other websites and horror makers. They've put their best films in. We've had Chris Barnes from The Slaughtered Birds, Scott Lyons from Crossroad Pictures, and Andy Dean of UK Horror Scene all went for The Witch. I don't know if everyone's seen that around here.
Yeah,
it's a very popular one, that one. David Shawdwar, who's a writer and director he did Adonis and Aphrodite and Bad Acid, which are both very good films. They've done lots of stuff.
You were so happy when it came, weren't you?
I had echoes of the past in my head. I'm thinking Bad Acid. But David Shawdwar, he went for The Wailing. Anyone?
I've not
Is
seen
that the Asian one?
Yeah, Korean, I think it is.
I've not seen that one.
It's supposed to be very good. Nicholas Burnham Vince, who probably has the best initials in horror, NBV. They're great initials, aren't they? He's gone for The Unkindness of Ravens with Cruel Summer, a very, very close second. Nicholas Burnham Vince, the actor, and he's got directorial debut came out this year.
Star of
Light Whispered.
And that's right, he was in one of your movies as well. Great guy, Nick.
Gets around that, lad.
We need all the money we can get.
This is why she's here, because I won't do that. She's here just to mention
I'm
them.
shameless.
Well, at the Unrestricted View
Fine
Film
producer.
Festival, at the Unrestricted View, we actually worked out that Nicholas Burnham Vince is in a quarter of all independent horror movies made.
Yeah.
He's,
That's why he wins awards.
Yeah, that's why he wins awards.
He's good fun though.
He is
Yes.
great. And Richard Martin of the Bizarre cast and UK Horror Scene, he went for The Cleansing Hour. Simon Ball of Horror Hot House, he went for, is it Wakufi? The Origin of Evil? So I think it's a Czech. Origin of Evil. The Origin of Evil. Well, I can't even say
Ouija,
Wakufi.
yeah.
Forget everything else.
Oh, Ouija.
Simon Ball, yeah.
Is that supposed to say Ouija?
No, Wakufi.
Yeah,
Wakufi.
it literally says Wakufi in here.
Yeah, it's Wakufi. It's not Ouija. It's Wakufi.
So it's a film none of us have heard
Yeah.
of.
I was going to say that was
It wasn't
an
Ouija
out
called
there
The
choice.
Origin
Yeah,
of
it
Evil.
was.
James. Yeah, Ouija. I went to see that. The Origin of Evil. Yeah, this is Wakufi. It's a film. Look it up. WEKUFE.
I don't believe you.
Brackenmore was James Wren's choice. He is of FMW Films and he the Unrestricted View Horror Film Festival this year, Brackenmore, which won the award there at the UVFF. And Kate Danbury, you'll like this one, James. Kate Danbury, she went for The Stomach and Cannibals and Carpet Fitters.
Hey.
She went for 2 short films. She couldn't decide on a feature. Cannibals and Carpet Fitters is actually really, I love Cannibals.
I'm going to have words with her because my film was at that same screening.
Oh dear.
It was just
Katie,
missed off.
sorry.
Don't worry, it's there. It's there.
Kate, who's an actress, she was in Mindless, and she's also your rival captain on What's the Bloody Question?
Yeah, and
You mean
probably should
the
mention-
losing
Yeah, the
rival
losing
captain.
captain.
Right, no, that's
for one.
right, yes.
And obviously runs London Horror Festival.
And she ran the London Horror Festival this year. She's done a great job of it. It's,
Fantastic job.
got great reviews
Just
for that.
not quite
Right.
as good a job of captaining or winning.
No, it's
No.
not. No, by one, was it 1 point?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter, it's still a win.
Right, so going around to you guys, James, film of the year.
Oh, I didn't get around to seeing too many this year, actually. I'd say I quite liked, although it didn't necessarily, wasn't perfect for me, I liked Don't Breathe. I quite liked the angle of
that's
that,
fun.
you know.
Great.
I did think towards the end it kind of like lost a little bit of it, but the first 2/3 of it was really good.
Yeah.
And just the idea, when I first saw the trailer for it, I was like, I'm going to like that film. It's unique.
Yeah.
It could have done with being a little bit shorter, couldn't it? I
Yeah, I
felt
just
that.
think
It
this kind of. I think they used up all their tricks in the first 2/3 of it, and then it was kind of like the last part was a little bit But the first 2/3 of it, I
Yeah.
thought was great. So I think for me that was probably my favourite.
And poignant for the time of year with turkey basters. So yeah,
It's a true Thanksgiving.
it really is, isn't it?
What about yours, Chris?
Couple of ones to mention. I loved, as Nicholas said, Cruel Summer. I thought that was an incredible
Oh, cool. Yeah,
film
that's-
to make.
Which played
which played at Unrestricted View, obviously, and Fright Fest, and the guys that directed it, young directors, and for me, hitting a storyline like that and nailing it in the most sensitive way possible. I was kind of blown away by the fact they were able to do that. So that was a highlight. I loved Prevenge, Alice Lowe's directorial debut. She was in Sightseers. She's done a lot of work with Ben Wheatley, but this was her first directorial piece, and it is just incredible. I love that. And yeah, Don't Breathe was certainly on there for me. Blair Witch wasn't. Bastards.
Did you think it was?
I did. I got sucked in
No.
by clever
Did you like
marketing.
the first one?
Yes, I'm a Blair Witch fanboy.
I didn't at all.
Neither did I.
So
And did you
didn't
like
watch it.
Did you like the new one?
I didn't watch it.
Oh,
so I
okay.
didn't
It's
like
all
the
about
first
Book of
one.
Shadows, lads. Come on.
Oh.
Never existed.
I'm being completely
I walked
serious
out
as
of that
well. I'm being
He
completely
likes
serious.
really bad films.
Book of Shadows is your boy. Just revisit
Alright,
it. You'll see
I'll
what
get
I
back
mean.
in.
I walked
I'll
out
get back
halfway
in.
through that one.
Yeah,
I love it,
it's
love it,
just-
love it.
But no, I
terrible
was a huge Blair Witch fanboy, and I thought, I don't know, I just got again sucked into clever marketing, and I thought, actually, there's a point to this.
It had a good team behind it as
It
well.
did, and I actually saw it on the same night I saw Don't Breathe, so I thought I was in for the best kind of
Oh,
double
Double
header.
bill, and it-
and it just kind of weeped out. So that sucked. So yeah, and honourable mention to Egomaniac from Kent Shenton. I love that too. And so many shorts that I'm not even going to mention. I mean, it's been a killer year, I think, for short films in
There's been
particular.
some really good
It's,
shorts, yeah.
If you happen to mention some.
well, yeah. So no, I'm not. 'Cause I'll be here all day. But it's been a lot of fun this year.
Cool. Anna?
To be honest, all the horror I've watched has been indie this year
That's fine. I mean,
because he goes during the day to the cinema while I'm at work. Have you seen The Snarling?
No,
It's amazing.
Very
It's like
good.
it's so good.
write these down.
Snarling.
I will
It's
fall
Snarling.
down.
a film,
Yeah,
it's directed by Pablo
It
Raybold
is, yeah.
and a guy called Ben Manning.
Ben
They're the
Manning's one
production
of the
team on
star.
it, and they're just so incredibly talented.
And they're so nice.
yeah.
It's irritating. Like
And we-
afterwards, it's brilliant. It's like a comedy horror werewolf kind of movie. But I don't want to ruin it for you. But it's like there's like 3 lead cast members, and comedy wise, they just have the best chemistry ever. They're really good. They are just really good. And then you meet them afterwards, and they're all like, "Hiya, I'm just really nice." And you're like, "Oh, okay. So you make really good films, and you're really nice."
Yeah.
Yeah.
When do I
Yeah.
bust you? Yeah.
But yeah, we're looking forward to seeing Ben again next year. He's at Hornsey when we'll be on our honeymoon, but that's another thing. And then The Slayers was my other one. I don't know if you've seen that.
Slayers.
That's
It's
another
another
I
indie
quite like comedy horrors.
Yeah, me too.
You got that one?
Big on that,
Do
yeah,
I need to
Slayers.
write that one down? You got that one?
Do I write
already?
down?
Have you seen it?
No, I haven't. No, but
Very
I've
good,
heard
very
about
good.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, it is
I
good.
will
Like
watch that.
comedy vampire slayer
Yeah.
come end of the world type scenario.
Cool.
Really, yeah, I found that.
And
really
we've seen
funny.
about
I liked
a
that.
billion shorts
We
again,
have,
that
that
we
were
couldn't
really-
list.
Yeah.
But
I like Framed. When did we?
Oh,
Is that
Friends,
Paddy
yeah.
Murphy?
Paddy
Yes.
Murphy's. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
we've seen that a
I've
couple
seen
of
that.
different places this year. That's been good. And
God,
Damon's
disassociative.
No,
See, there we go.
finally-
Yeah. I was completely by accident as well.
My favourite film, Slasher House 2.
That
You know.
nobody's seen.
They haven't released
Apart
it
from
No,
yet.
yeah,
some
I know.
angry reviewers.
Oh,
I don't want to think I've pirated it.
delete.
For me, well, I was going to say Don't Breathe, but I had a feeling that everyone's going to fucking say Don't Breathe.
Yeah.
Should've
So
thought this through.
I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Mine's kind of
It's
a bit
alright.
of a cheat because it came out last December, but I didn't get to see it till about 3 weeks ago when it came on Sky. So I'm going to go with Krampus. Like,
Yeah,
oh
good
man,
film.
like
I enjoyed that.
absolutely. And I was only at the end. I went, oh my god, this same guy did Trick or Treat. Of course, I love this. You know, like, it's absolutely fantastic. Like the perfect horror movie for me. I love Christmas horror films. So for me, that was everything I ever could have wanted in a Christmas horror film. I absolutely adored it. I thought it was good. Really, like, perfect film. And I really like Lights Out. I know a lot of people kind of thought it was a bit mediocre, but I loved it. I thought it was
Haven't seen it,
fantastic. Oh,
Don't fight, guys.
honestly, I thought.
No, it's all right. Good ratings.
Actually, yeah,
If they just kick off. In
the thing I admired
Just gonna
actually
turn on
about
Jerry
Lights
Springer.
Out was the fact that the guy that made the short got the chance to direct this feature.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that happened.
He
I
also
mean,
did a
it's
lot of the
very-
visual effects work
Yeah,
himself.
exactly. And
It's
very
for
slickly
me,
directed,
Yeah,
give it
it
that.
is. I mean, I didn't dislike it by any stretch of the imagination. I thought it could have been a bit more, but then it was a short film concept that you've eked out into a feature. So
yeah.
it's like,
Damon,
you know,
I
it
thought
gets
that the ending they went with, I thought, well, that's fairly great. Because
Yeah,
I
it
was
was.
expecting everyone to kind of go, you know, Conjuring style, go skipping out the house, like, and
Yeah.
then tomorrow, you know, it's like,
Yeah.
like the end of a day, like,
We
and
just
then,
get that
and then
again.
everyone, like, but instead I was like, whoa, shit, like,
Yeah.
you know, that was pretty dark ending, I thought.
Yeah.
Um,
Honourable mention
it's got
Conjuring
much-
2 as well, actually. I really enjoyed
I see that
Conjuring
wound
2 was
me up.
great.
Did it?
I really
Like
liked
a lot.
that.
Fucking nun.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
see,
Oh, the
this
most
is my problem with the
terrifying thing I've
Conjuring
ever
movies.
seen.
All the interesting parts of them have nothing to do with the actual main story.
Yeah, well, there's a spin-off, isn't there?
Yeah.
They do, which
Yeah.
is, you know, you see why. It's like,
Um,
let's introduce a comfortable, kind of cool character.
I thought
Annabelle,
Conjuring
blah.
2 just wasn't, for me, wasn't as good as the first one, though, that's why.
Oh, see, I preferred it.
I didn't like the first one
No, I
either
didn't like
because
the
I
first
thought
one.
Annabelle was the only interesting part. And then when I really thought about it, I was walking home after watching it and I thought, what's that doll got to do with anything in that film? Nothing. And I tried to connect it, and it was the same with the nun. With the nun, they kind of tried to force
Yeah.
it in at the end
Yeah.
there, but that made it worse for me, I think.
Yeah.
My wife is genuinely now terrified of that nun. she literally said, we were at studio tour when we were in the States, and they had the picture of the nun there, and she saw it and she was just like she's
Yeah, I was
genuinely
genuinely
frightened just
terrified.
to see the picture.
It was a paranormal activity moment for me again. Almost. It's like, no. And, you know, luckily I don't encounter too many nuns.
Stay away from the Catholic district. You never
Yeah.
know. Don't go to Rome. Damon, best
For
film?
me, I think for me the film, it was one that I had high expectations for when I saw it, and often when you have high expectations for a film, you come out disappointed. But lived up to it, and actually it was better. That was The Devil's Candy. It was such a good
Yes.
film. I was blown away when I watched that.
Oh,
I
I didn't
was
see that one.
brilliant. It's Ethan Embry, and he is.
He's
For
incredible,
me,
isn't
he's one of the best actors around at the moment, but he just doesn't get the recognition for it, which is a shame. It's a great film.
Yeah,
Highly
it is.
recommend it.
It's so-
It's the guy that did The Loved Ones.
Oh, right. I'll see.
It's
That's a
so
brilliant film.
loud, but in a really
Yeah.
amazing way. It
Yeah.
like blew my ears, and it's just noise all the time. And the one thing I didn't really like was the amount of CGI fire in it.
Yeah,
but
that-
it was, you know, you could
They let that
it's-
go, yeah.
And
Don't
I
watch
watched it
Psychos.
really tired at Fright Fest. I think it was like the last film on one of the nights, and
Yes,
I was
that was-
knackered, and I was like, oh god. And it really, it got.
It was
ya.
great.
No one's mentioned Train to Busan.
It's because I haven't seen
I haven't
it.
seen it.
No.
Although they're
Wanted
doing a
to.
U-
It was like
I wasn't as blown
So-
away as everybody by it.
Really?
Yeah, I
Okay.
thought it was okay. And there was a couple of there was one which sort of came out of nowhere, and I really liked. I think a lot of people thought it was all right, but I think it was because I was just like, oh, what's this? Saw who directed it. It was a guy called Mike Flanagan, who seems to be on a bit of a good streak at the moment, coming up with Gerald's Game next, which is great, which was Hush.
Yeah, really good. I thought.
Oh,
it was
yeah,
just-
That was
that's
just suddenly popped up on Netflix. I was like,
Yeah,
wow, that's cool.
that's right.
Didn't he just do Ouija?
Yeah, he did the Origin of Evil, yeah.
See, I didn't dig. I didn't dig
I
that.
haven't seen that one yet.
Or, as it's called, Makoofi.
Goofy Origin of Evil. Yeah.
I'll send you all the
flagging it.
trailer.
A little
I'll put a
kooky.
link for the trailer down below.
Actually, I didn't dig that. A lot of people
haven't seen it yet.
talked it
No.
up, and
Yeah,
I
they did
thought
talk
this
it
is
up,
going to be
yeah.
excellent. I couldn't wait to see it, and then I got to watch it a couple of weeks ago, and I thought it was it had every problem that modern Hollywood haunting films have. You know,
Complete
kind of
derivative. Almost.
yeah,
generic.
like just
Yeah.
like you know, it's just from scene to scene. It felt like it was, and then this is happening, and then this is happening, and then you know, and it just didn't have the scares for me.
Yeah.
At all. And it's just
That's a shame. I haven't seen it. I'll check it.
People been
But there's-
watching The Exorcist on TV.
No.
Yeah, I've been
no,
watching it.
I've
I'm
heard
halfway through that, and it's like,
I've heard it's
absolutely
good.
amazing.
Are you liking
Heard
it?
it's good.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm really
Oh.
liking it.
I
Yeah.
thought it was going to be terrible,
No,
and then I'm
yeah.
like, okay,
Love it.
fair
Yeah.
dues.
I've got to say, I kind of geeked out at the end of the first episode when they
Yeah.
started playing the music. It's
Yeah.
like, "Ah!"
Yeah, they used it well, didn't they?
There's a moment at the end of the first episode, and I literally sat there with my mouth wide
Yeah.
open, like I couldn't believe. I thought, man, this is gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
This is gonna be like
I've
the best show on
heard- yeah, I've heard
TV.
it's
And what's it?
huge.
I'm thinking it's on sci-fi.
I will watch
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Yeah,
I've
Kat,
been
Kat
really enjoying
Dunn, who writes for us, she is in love with it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
she's-
And of course, we've got Stranger Things this year as well.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
really
yeah.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
enjoyed that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was excellent. That was excellent.
And can I just get a mention in for a short film that I saw,
Yeah, go on.
which I don't think I've not seen anybody else that's seen it. It was at Screenfest. It was one called NSFW. It was set in a forest sort of thing, and I can't say too much about it because it will give the story away. But it was so beautifully directed. You're watching it, and I was actually thinking, I want this to be a feature film. I want more of this film. It was so good. I was totally blown away by it. But
What is it?
NSFW. I can't remember the name of the guy that directed it, unfortunately. But brilliant film, brilliant. So if you can get to see it, recommend it.
It's one of the
You're
funny
nodding
things,
like
isn't
you
it, when you
have.
sit around talking films and someone says something, he's like, oh yeah,
Yeah, you all forget it, don't you?
Oh, I haven't got time to think of it. Oh, I wish I'd thought of that one. That was really, really good. It has. I mean, it's been a pretty good year. I mean, Lights Out. I saw that with you, didn't I? Lights Out.
Did.
Was that? Yeah, I liked it just for that bit of the car scene. You know, when he pushes the car button and the lights come on.
Don't give us
That was my
spoilers.
favourite bit.
Classic.
That was my
I
favourite
mean,
bit.
it suffers some
Great.
logical problem. It's Darkness Falls logic, where the more important you are in the cast, the longer you could stay in the dark without getting killed. So
Right.
if you're a red-shirted police officer and you show up like, hello, what's going on? I looked at the dark. But like
sunglasses
outside
on.
of that, I thought it was a genuinely good film. I jumped about 3 or 4 times, and I saw The Conjuring 2 on my own. I was the only person in the cinema in this perfectly black room. I didn't jump once.
I don't think I was
Lights
on my
out,
seat in the country.
Lights out.
Got me.
Just got me
On the
so
opening
many
credits.
times.
Yeah,
In a
pretty
room
much.
full of people, I couldn't believe it. It was just. There's just something about. I mean, I really liked the short to begin with. I thought it was a really good idea, and I liked seeing it being expanded on. And I quite liked the kind of mythology they try to build around it.
Yeah.
Some of it was a bit lazy, but
Yeah, it was a
you know,
classic kind of.
But also, I think the biggest thing that I liked about it was it was fun. And a lot of films like The Conjuring are kind of like really like, oh, I've been haunted too, I'm so bored. Like, and that's a bit drab for me sometimes.
There were a few good fun moments in Lights Out, and Don't Breathe, which you all mentioned. That was a good film as well.
Well, see, that's got a lot of comedy in it. Like,
Yeah,
you know, you don't
yeah,
really
It's
think
it's
about that
impressive
when
to
you think about
shoehorn
the
in
film.
comedy.
But
Yeah,
Yeah.
subject matter like that.
But we're gonna have to start wrapping up. I will give a quick shout out though. I mean, I loved Cannibals and Carpet Fitters. I'm really looking forward to the feature on that.
God, hope he delivers.
Yeah,
Play with the big boys now.
your stuff's very good. What was the comedy short? The trailer you did.
Sleep
Oh, Sleep-
That's
Yeah.
it. Slateful Fool's Day. Love that.
That was really
That's
good.
really good.
thank you.
That's really good. All your stuff's good, so do check them all out. And of course, Dissociative, because we've got to throw.
Hey,
down
well
there.
done. You said it right.
No, yeah,
Impressed.
I've been practicing.
Will choose silly names.
Yeah. Make something easier, man. Yeah. Dissociative and I mean, Damon's work is always very good. I mean, like I said, we don't want to bring trash on. You're all quality filmmakers, and I know you're a big supporter of it all as well. So
Yeah, they're all right, aren't they?
You've got to be on TV. You've got a
I
cameo on a
know.
TV,
I know.
film broadcast on
Who
TV. Yeah, I don't know anything else. Anybody wants? What you doing
I-
next year? What have you got coming up? You've got the feature of Cannibals and Carpet
Yeah,
Fitters
I've got to
coming up.
finish that.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. You guys?
Maskathon is our next
Yeah, we're
one
doing a
after-
prequel to our second feature. third feature, which is set in the
Who
80s.
remembers?
You know, it's like a kind of shot-on-video throwback kind of thing to that generation of filmmaking. So we're quite looking forward to just going back to our roots a little bit. You know, like when you were kids and you had your video camera, and kind of really using that aesthetic to tell that kind of story.
Cool. Damon,
Hoping to get my feature done next year.
what's it called? Has it got a title or
Not yet. No title
something
yet.
stupid? No doubt. That's really hard. Really hard to say.
Anti-disestablishmentarianism.
There you go. Shall I write it down?
We've sorted it out.
done.
Don't worry.
It's spelled
Producer
with
network.
a
Yeah, we,
Q.
we want some kind of credit for that.
So long
gonna
as
send you the
it's got
trailer.
4 or more syllables, then I'll be happy.
Right.
I did one. I did called the tour. Fucking hell.
Yeah,
Not
the
all of them.
package-
Are, unless Chris
No, I
suffers
don't
from
know.
them.
You can give me credit if you like.
Yeah,
Package. Mine are usually quite easy.
Yeah,
the
the
package
tour,
was
the
good. Yeah,
package.
you wanted to get complicated.
I did. Well, it's a very literal meaning for
No,
the
you had
film.
you had team tour on your side for the what's the bloody question?
Yeah,
That's
we
what it
were
was.
we were
Yeah,
great.
We were.
We were
Smashed
awesome.
You won, I hear.
And
I understand that was the case.
I want to say, for me, thank you to you, to Tony, and to Chris as well for being big supporters of the stuff that we do.
We just like
Because
watching films.
it's
so if we'd watch
yeah,
more,
but
then
without
that's great.
people like you, a lot of times our stuff could go
Absolutely, yeah.
completely unheard of, unseen, or whatever. But it's great that there are mediums for us because
Other than the torrent sites,
yes, that's
for
right.
which
So-
they're created.
Well, the ones that we run.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Okay, thought so. Yeah.
She's
Can
so
I-
much
can I
fun
get-
as the last one.
Can I just get that screener off you?
Yeah.
For
That's it. Yeah,
reasons.
that's it. I've given it back. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
No,
did delete it.
I've got to say, though, I'm sure Chris will agree. It's an absolute pleasure. I mean, it's loads of fun.
Yeah, it's not.
actually.
Yeah, we don't do this for any other reason than I just really like watching films, and I love. There's so many brilliant filmmakers, and it sucks for me to see people make stuff and it never be seen by anyone. So
Yeah,
I just,
it's great.
if I can get more eyes on it, then that's great because I get to see it as well. So
Yeah,
it's a selfish.
Well, London Horror Society is fantastic, and then your night at the UVFF was fantastic as well.
Yeah, it was good, wasn't it? The one that I couldn't
you
make.
couldn't make. I hear the presenters that night were absolutely awesome.
I didn't. Yeah. That's a great little new festival actually. Mad props to James Wren, who's doing great things with that. I think that was their first ever horror film festival as well.
It was a really good night.
It's great,
Well,
yeah.
It was,
It
yeah.
went down
Good
pretty
time.
well. So we'll be back next year. Well,
Cool.
they'll be back next year.
Yeah,
We'll
definitely.
have to make
We
something.
will be back. We
Yeah.
won't go anywhere.
Make some stuff quick.
Yeah.
Right, so thanks to Chris, James, Anna, MJ, Damon, and to me. And thank you for watching. Give yourselves a
Slash
round of
listening.
applause, guys, and or listening, whatever you're doing, whichever medium you're doing it through. Thanks very much.